Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome in. It's Tuesday's edition here of the Outspoken Sportscast with your host Brian. I got episode number 94 up and running for you. It's the Black Monday edition of this year. And Black Monday, for those of you who don't know, it's called that because it's it's the next day after the season ends that a lot of coaches end up getting fired. And it starts off Monday and follows trickles through. Some trickles through later during this week as teams make those decisions on head coaching that needs to go, and even GMs, and they make those decisions to start that look for the next direction of their team. So I'm going to go through that here for you. We do have a special episode this week. I'm going to have my buddy Ryan Sims on Thursday night. We're going to talk about the playoffs, kind of give you our predictions on who's going to win. And then on Friday, we're going to have our regular edition of the Outspoken Sportscast with me and Jeff. And we're going to break down weekly the first round and go from there. So it's going to be great. This playoffs is headed into some fantastic matchups. And at the end of the day, when I sat down and thought about who I was going to pick to win these games and who I had in the Super Bowl, the picks might surprise you. It maybe not. It just depends. So look forward to that at the end of this week. But let's go and jump into it. Black Monday week took place, and Vic Fangio was his first victim that we heard. Breaking news that Vic Fangio was fired, the head coach in Denver. And Vic Fangio was 7-10, 5-11, and 7-9, or 7-10 this last season. So 7-9, 5-11, and then 7-10. So that's just not good enough, guys. Especially with a team that is as talented as Denver. Denver has the talent around them. They have good weapons on the offense. They just drafted a really good running back. I really like Williams out of North Carolina. He's been a beast of a runner this year for them, and he runs very hard. They have talent with the wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Sutton, Noah Fant, and they have talent there. The defense especially has talent on the defensive side, especially in the backfield. They just drafted a rookie that's going to be a lockdown corner. So they have talent. Fangio's kind of ran his course there. I was never a big supporter of Fangio being a head coach. He's better as a defensive coordinator. And there's some of those coordinators that I don't think can cut it as a head coach. I think they're better at being the coordinator that they were defensively or offensively. But that being said, I think he gets picked up as a defensive coordinator somewhere next season going forward. I don't think he'll get another head coaching job right away. But Denver has talent. They just lacked to find who their quarterback was going to be. You can maybe blame that on the organization. You can blame that on the GM during Fangio's time and not really finding him a quarterback. Drew Lock wasn't that guy. They went out and got other quarterbacks that didn't pan out, and they haven't had a quarterback pan out since Peyton Manning. So that's been the cold hard truth of the Denver Broncos, and it tells you it's very hard to find the quarterback that you need to be able to win, even with a talented football team. If your quarterback's not good enough, then you're not winning. And Teddy Bridgewater has always been a stopgap quarterback. When I was hired here, I said this is just a stopgap. So we'll see who the quarterback is going forward. Do they draft one in this draft? There's not supposed to be a lot of great talented quarterbacks coming out this year. So we'll see. We'll see. But I thought it was a good time to let Fangio go and kind of start over there. Not really rebuild, but start over and find a guy. I would like to see Brian Flores go there. We'll get into Brian Flores in a little bit and how shocked I was that they fired him. But for Denver, I want a young offensive coordinator to be their head coach. They need an offensive-minded head coach. But I think the best coach in the market right now is Brian Flores. He's more defensively driven. And there's some good offensive coordinators out there that he can pick up to take the place, and they can help draft and get the quarterback in there. But Denver's reached out to Dallas Cowboys, Kellen Moore, and they actually are going to interview Nathaniel Hackett from the Green Bay Packers. And I was talking to Jeff about this the other day about how if they go get Nathaniel Hackett, maybe that's a way they hire him as a head coach. He's been the offensive coordinator with Aaron Rodgers for a really long time, and that could get Aaron Rodgers, if he's deciding to leave next season, kind of give him some reason to go to Denver. So something to watch out for there. Next, we got the Bears that fire both head coach Matt Nagy and GM Ryan Pace. This team's been I'd just say a lethargic football team. They were 8-8, went 8-8 again, and 6-11. And those are the records under Matt Nagy. And Matt Nagy didn't do anything special, in my opinion. He wasn't a specialist in play calling. Actually, in his time there, he's gone back and forth between play calling and not play calling and play calling again, and going back and forth and seeing what would work. And to me, you wouldn't be going back and forth if you were a good play caller. So that is on him. And Matt, and also my biggest dilemma, my biggest problem with the Chicago Bears is you took Mitchell Trubisky. You took Mitchell Trubisky. Do I need to say any more? Now, I'm not going to kill you for the Mahomes miss, right? Everyone missed on Mahomes. If they knew Mahomes was going to be that good, he would have been the number one pick that year, right? But you did not even interview Deshaun Watson. Didn't even interview him. This guy won national championships. He was the guy you should have drafted. Instead, you take Mitchell Trubisky. That was a bust. And when you bust on a quarterback and you fail that miserably and you can't really get another one in, that's a big time fail on your part. So I think it's time for Matt Nagy to move on. I don't know if he gets another head coaching job either. He wasn't very successful there with Denver or with the Bears, and their defense is something that's been a staple there. And that defense has kind of slipped off, under Matt Nagy this last season. And they did get their quarterback, what they believe the quarterback of the future, and he showed some promise in Justin Fields. But is he going to be that guy? We don't know yet. So that's still open. This job is interesting, and maybe Brian Flores goes here and bolsters up that defense some more, and hires a good offensive coordinator. But I could see that happening as well, and I don't want to see that happen because they're in Green Bay's division, and Brian Flores gets his guys to play for him. But right move for the Bears here. I got a buddy down the street who's a Bears fan. He was jumping for joy when this happened, and it's time for them to go. And they actually fired Matt Nagy first, and then Pace came a couple days or a day later. And now there was rumors going around that they would not be able to hire a head coach if Pace was still the GM because he wasn't liked around the league. So that's interesting as well. Where will he go? Does he go anywhere else? Does he take a lesser position somewhere? Does he just get out of football? Who knows? This one was surprising to me because this team usually doesn't make the right move. They usually are just horrible at most aspects of football, and it's the Giants. They fired head coach Joe Judge. Joe Judge, it was a pathetic attempt to coach a team to compete every Sunday. This team was not competitive. They were 4-13. Now that wasn't his record. He came in the last 2 years, 6-10, and they were 4-13 again. Not 4-13. They were 4-12, 6-10, and then 4-13 this season. And they've been pathetic. This is a team. And I was watching Fox, the Fox morning show before the football starts on Fox at 11 o'clock. Michael Strahan's on there, and he said, "I'm just looking for a competitive football team." You can watch this team and see that they're not competitive, and it's very easy to see. And if I'm a New York Giants fan, I'm jumping for joy that this guy's gone. This guy was a joke. This was one of the worst football teams that I've seen play. I mean, just pathetic. The Lions finished with a lesser record, but they played hard. They fought hard every game. They lost a lot of close games. The Giants are pathetic. That just is what it is. Okay, sorry to break your Giants' hearts out there. They're just pathetic. And getting rid of the head coach and their head or their general manager, what's his name, Gettleman, retires. So that is good news for the Giants. That is great news for their fans, and that they will be able to get a new GM. be able to get a new head coach and see what direction they can go. Maybe they try and lure Russell Wilson out of Seattle. I don't think he's there next season as is, but they were talking about him going to New York to be in that limelight. He wants that limelight. Can he win there? I don't know. The talent around him right now is not very good. They do have a running back, but he hasn't looked very good. He's always hurt. So I don't see much coming from the Giants anytime soon. And though they should probably be going into a long rebuild. Oh, and then you also got to figure out Daniel Jones is not your guy. If you haven't already figured that out, that's not your quarterback. So you better find one pretty soon. That's not your guy. And did you see the joke about the 3rd and 9? There was a 3rd and 9 this last week, and they were on their own like 8-yard line, and they ran a QB sneak. Talk about giving up, right? Talk about quitting. That's just pathetic. And that's when I knew that they decided that they were going to fire him when you run when a QB sneak on 3rd and 9 on your own 5 or 6 yard line. And there was rumors that they were actually going to keep Joe Judge because they didn't want turnover so quickly. They didn't want that turnover. So they, but they listened to whoever told them, you got to get rid of this guy. Was it the media? Was it the fan bases? Did they come up with that their own conclusion? Who knows? But that's good news for them. Who do they hire? I don't know. We'll see going forward. Mike Zimmerman, as I figured, would be gone this year if he didn't do nothing, which the Vikings failed to make the playoffs again. And they fired GM Rick Spielman out as well. This team has gone 10-6, 7-9, and then 8-9. They've had back-to-back losing seasons. They missed out on the playoffs this year, and it's just time for them to go. Sometimes you run your course. Coach McCarthy ran his course in Green Bay. Jason Garrett ran his course with Dallas. Mike Zimmerman has ran his course. They've definitely underachieved with that talent that they've had, and it's just no excuse. You got a great running back. You got great wide receivers. They've always had a pretty good defense that's gonna hit you hard. They've had troubles with the cornerback area and safety issues this last year, but they're usually a talented team. Barr's a good player on defense, and they've got the offensive talent. Quarterback's up in the air. I think what's his name? Quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He is a bus driver. He is an average mid-pack quarterback. Not going to get anything great. Not going to totally just kill the game. Sometimes he might with a couple interceptions. If he plays big games at night, he fails. But that's not the guy either. You got to figure out if that's your guy. In Minnesota, Kirk Cousins is his name. I don't know. I'm thinking on that one. A little tired tonight, but that's his name. They got to figure out if that's the guy. I don't think it is, but Kirk Cousins says he wants to be there, and I think that they probably will keep him, which is good news for me and the Green Bay Packers and anybody else in our division, and especially good news if we keep Aaron Rodgers next season. And we should probably win next year too, the division. But all right, guys. My gosh, the Miami Dolphins are idiots. Everyone, when this broke, I was shocked. All the other ones I could see coming or thought that, yeah, I could see them out the door. Brian Flores, heck no. All right. They get the Bonehead of the Week award, Bonehead of the Year award, as they terminate Brian Flores, a guy who's been nothing but a fantastic motivator of a talentless team at times. He's built this team. He's drafted Tua. He's and whether you think Tua is the guy or not, you've got to figure that out. But he's drafted great players or good players, and he's built this team. They went 5-11. 10-6 and 9-8. This is the first back-to-back. I went and looked it up. This is the first back-to-back winning seasons they've had. I couldn't even tell you. They were 8-8 and 8-8. Average team. 2013 and 14, I believe. But other than that, they haven't seen back-to-back winning seasons. This guy comes in gives you back-to-back winning seasons, and you fire him, what are you doing? And this is why you're a laughingstock of the NFL. You haven't been good since Dan Marino. You've been struggling to find a quarterback. You find Tua Tagovailoa. Now, do you believe he's the guy? I don't know. I think they go all in and trade for Deshaun Watson on the offseason. But this guy, Brian Flores, is a guy that has his team playing for him. Now, look, did they start off rough this season? Yes, they won. They won their first game. They lost 7 straight, and then they won 7 in a row. 7 games in a row to get back in playoff contention. They didn't quite make it. They beat the Patriots the last game of the season. They didn't make it because of other people won their games, and it booted them out. But that's dumb. You got to give guys the opportunity to build a team, and usually I give people 3 years, right? I want to give a head coach 3 years and see if this team is progressing. See if this team is making progress. How are his drafts going? The moves he makes. Is he bringing free agent guys in here that help this team? Brian Flores has done all that. Um, if I didn't have a head coach, I would want Brian Flores to be that guy. And I believe in offensive coordinators or offensive minded coaches. Brian Flores is a defensive minded coach team that could have gave up 1-7. Talk about a team that could have just gave up and fought for that first round draft pick. They didn't give up. And you know why? Because Brian Flores coached him to not quit, coached him to continue to play, and they played their butts off. They fell a little short of the playoffs, but we weren't expecting Miami to come in and blow out anybody. And here's my only reason I think that makes any somewhat sense of firing Brian Flores is either that the Brian Flores and the front office could not come on agreement with a quarterback. Whether it be Brian Flores wanted Tua, and the front office said no, or Brian Flores said, "Hey, Tua is not the guy. I would like to go get someone else," and the front office said, "No, we're going to keep him. He was a first round draft pick. We've got to see what he if he can make it." And that disagreement on a quarterback can go a long way, but I just don't understand it. That would be the only reason I could come up with to wrap my head around why you would fire a coach that um, has been that good for your organization. And I just do not understand it. If you guys can explain it to me and make sense to me, then do so. I want to hear from your Miami Dolphin fans out there on what you have to say. Did you like Brian Flores enough to want to keep him? Back-to-back winning seasons, no losing record. And this is a division. Maybe they were feeling like they should have been more competitive in the division because Tom Brady's not there. The Patriots, we didn't figure they'd be this good. The Buffalo Bills are either a good team, but they really haven't taken that stride this year to kind of dominate the division like we thought. So maybe their Miami Dolphins expectations are set too high, and expectations set appropriately is a right way to do things. And I call it having a mirror in your house, right? I want to have a mirror where I can look into and see everything about myself. I want to be able to see my good traits. I want to see my bad traits. I want to see things that I can work on, things I can improve on, things that I'm doing great at. And you have to have that honest mirror and have those things in your house that you can look at and see to know how to make adjustments, how to adjust your expectations, and things like that. And that mirror in Miami must be broken because they are not seeing clearly, in my opinion, with this move. Most people were shocked. I am blown away by it. Um, I am just dis in disbelief. Will we see more head coaches go? I don't know. Maybe we will at the end of the playoffs. Maybe we won't. You know, it's all about progress and going forward. Now, I don't know where the landscape ends up with head coaching. That's always, you always have one of those surprise teams, the Miami Dolphins, that kind of shock you with the head coaching change that you don't expect. Other coaches, you do expect them to be gone. Um, so it's a mixed bag, but we could see Eric Bieniemy get a job this year. I think someone should hire that guy, offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs, deserves a job somewhere. I would like to see him go to Denver. I would also like to see um, Kellen Moore go to Denver. Just a young, I think unless they get Brian Flores, who I think is the best coach on the market right now, get a young OC and give him some the time of day and give him the opportunity to come in there and help run this offense and find a quarterback. And whether it be Aaron Rodgers, whether it be you draft one, but you find one, maybe you get Russell Wilson. I don't know. I don't know if Russell Wilson wants to go play in Denver. I don't believe Seattle will. I don't believe he's in Seattle next season. And, I've gone back and forth on Aaron Rodgers next year about him staying in Green Bay. The conversation over the offseason, I was like, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. The conversations he's had since then makes me think that he's going to stay in Green Bay, with him talking about relationships gotten better and stuff like that. But who knows? I think it's a 50-50 coin flip. Maybe he retires. I don't think though if he wins the MVP or if he that he's going to retire. Maybe he rides off into the sunset with a Super Bowl victory. I mean, I'll take that as well. But that needs to be Green Bay's first and first thing they do of the offseason is lock down, trying to bring back Aaron Rodgers and go from there. But that's a little ways away. We're focusing on the playoffs. We got the first round bye coming up, and then we'll face the lesser seed. So this Thursday, guys, we have a special edition with Ryan, my buddy, on here. We're going to talk about our predictions. We're going to predict the playoffs. We're going to predict who's going to win the Super Bowl and get those in. And then on Friday night, me and Jeff are going to go through the playoff bracket of week 1. And then next week, we'll break down round 1. Next week, we'll break down round 2 and so forth from there. So the playoffs is going to be very interesting. Remember, there are games on Saturday and Sunday and Monday night. There are going to be games those days going forward. And I'm looking forward to watching as much football as I can. This is the great, perfect time of year to do that, especially if your team is in the playoffs. So, guys, that's all I got for you today. I broke down the Black Monday list of the NFL, and there was a lot. They were dropping like flies, which we expected to have a lot go. Some changes coming. We'll see where the coaching landscape goes and changes, but another thing, real quick before I let you go, is me and Jeff were discussing something, and I'm going to pop this out on TikTok as well. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about with us, if there's anything a topic you want us to talk about, a conversation you want us to have about sports or kind of anything else, not political. No, we don't get into political and all that, but sports or video games or whatever, just let me know. We'll talk about that and discuss that on the show, and you can get our opinions on that. If you have any questions, email me at outspokensportscast@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. And if you don't listen to podcasts and you're on YouTube, we do live stream to Facebook, YouTube, and now Twitter. Working on getting that Twitch stream in there as well. So I want to thank you guys for taking time out to listen to this podcast show. I am on TikTok at Outspoken Sportscast, and I started a new food review page. I haven't had a video out yet, but it's called the Outspoken Food Reviews. So I'm going to go and review food and give you my opinions on that. So all that and much more coming from you, coming for you and to you from the Outspoken Sportscast, guys. I hope you have a fantastic week and God bless.